The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. PTR TV has been covering races here since 2017 on the iRacing service, and tonight we can actually claim a first time that this channel has covered a race here in the state of Maine at the Oxford Plains Speedway. The track built in, I think, when was it built here? Back in the early 1990s or so, and holding races in Busch North, Busch Series, and a lot of late model stock series taken to the track here. And let's see what happens here tonight with the eCAR late models. Welcome everyone to PTR TV. Again, the eCAR late model series taken to the track here at the Oxford Plains Speedway for what'll be 125 laps around this place. Again, this league presented by the Precision Spotting Group. Gonna be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the production truck here, along with my pal Patrick Coleman. So Patrick, this is obviously a track that you certainly know nothing about, as do I. We're looking at the wiki on this place as we speak, but what we do know is this place is basically a circle, and turn left goes to the utmost degree here.
Indeed, and talking about degrees here, Corey, there is no degree of banking on the straights and only 9 degrees in the corners. And one thing we kind of talked about last week in the build-up to this track is there's no walls here like a lot of the other tracks we have visited. So if you go a bit too wide, you'll be met with a wall. You'll be turning your late model car into a rally car here. Just 3/8 of a mile here, 4 corners as per usual. It'll be interesting to see how these drivers take it through this historic racing track that has opened in 1950. So this track is pretty old, but honestly, I mean, there's a lot of old tracks that have been raced in a lot of different categories that can still provide good racing, and I think Oxford Plains here is going to be no different.
Yeah. Do appreciate you, Patrick, there, because as I was scrolling the wiki, I didn't scroll down far enough to see 1950 there. So obviously a little bit older than the 1990s here. We do have a little bit smaller of a field here today for a multitude of reasons. You know, real life does hit, of course, in the simulator world. But I know some drivers, you know, they choose what tracks they want to go to for what reason or another. But we do have 13 cars here today, which, Patrick, as we kind of talked about off air, 13 cars at a track of this size really is kind of the perfect size grid. Very hard to pass here, and as we've talked about, if you do go wide, outside of just the front straightaway, you're off into the Never Land, so to speak.
Yeah, because at least if you hit the wall, you can kind of bounce back onto the track. But here, I mean, like you said, you're pretty much gone to the ether if you go too far out. So you go too far out on this track, you'll end up in Delaware. So drivers will definitely want to go ahead and avoid the dirt. I don't believe these cars are built for rally racing, as fun as it would be to see these cars on a dirt track. But once again, staying on track is going to be the name of the game, and just staying out of carnage, which is going to be a bit easier with the smaller grid. But I mean, I still think the quality of racing here is going to be top notch as always.
The case here as the countdown timer goes down to 0 here. and we will get ready for our PTR TV starting lineup here today from the Oxford Plains Speedway. Let's you know where your favorite drivers are starting. I guess we'll just kind of split this down the middle, Patrick, because it is a small grid. We got Nathan Rhew in the first position with Dave Beischener going to be in second. Third, we have Brent Meckes and Jack McKee in fourth. Fifth is Travis Suckup, and then Dylan Winters in sixth there, Patrick.
And then taking us through the rest of our group, we have Colt Huff and Steven Rex taking up row number 4, followed by Jacob Witt and Jack Fred. And then we have Jonathan D. Golden and Eric Hudson. And then last but most certainly not least, it is Chris Horton in P number 13. We'll see. And we'll just have to see how the rest of this race goes as the pace lap is getting underway. And we'll be ready for 125 laps here very shortly. It'll be interesting to see who can make their way through the field and who can not make their way through the field. Because like Corey said, this track is hard to pass on. So drivers will have to definitely pick and choose their moments because their moments won't be readily available to them. But if they go for a move that really isn't there, then they could end up in the wall. So we got a good mix of cars here ready to take it live here.
Absolutely the case here for 125 laps. This race should go by pretty quickly. Only about 30 minutes if indeed we go green for the full duration here today. Very interesting pit road layout here. So the pace car will pull off at a very awkward situation here, but we'll see if that comes into fruition later today. I doubt it. There's no tires here on the wall, but the green flag is in the air. We're racing from the Circle Bullring here in Maine, and it's going to be Nathan Rhew getting the whole shot. Brent Meckes going to get second and all the way to the outside. Trying to see who that is. That is the three of Beischener trying to get down to the inside of the track.
Indeed, and like we said earlier, you got to really pick your moment to try to get these passes in. So it'll be interesting to see who can go ahead and make the most moves here, as we are having a pretty good battle here with Jack McKee getting ahead of Dave Beischener there as they go to begin lap number 2 here, or lap number 3 here on the track. The number 3 car of Dave Beischener is going to go to try to continue to put pressure on, as Brent Meckes is putting some pressure on to the race leader. Now, the thing about this track being only 3/8 of a mile is that you're always going to have somebody in your rear view mirror. So you got to kind of really drive on your mirrors as well as drive on the line. And I mean, we talk a lot about high and low lines here, but I don't really think we're going to see that much of it here tonight, just considering the track we're at here.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the past couple races, you know, 5 flags. We saw it at Langley, where the second lane did come into fruition, but as you kind of alluded to, Patrick, just the pure geometry of a literal circle, so to speak. Of course, you geometry teachers out there, this is not an exact circle, but in racing standards it may as well be. Really find a hard time to really make that outside work, but it's also hard to find a solid place to pass, Patrick, because, you know, most tracks, oval racing, circuit racing, you try to get underneath on corner exit, race them down the straight, get them on the next side of the track, but you really don't have a solid straightaway to make that opportunity on.
Yeah, and you really don't, and that's going to be an extra bit of challenge added on to an already challenging race here tonight. Because, I mean, you're not really going to get a lot of chances just to go flat out in a straight line, so you got to really just kind of bide your time and wait for the perfect moment to go ahead and get that dive in to get the pass. But if you get it wrong, then you're way off into the grass, or way off into the dirt, I should say. Not too much grass around here, but Colt Huff has had a really good comeback here. He started in P7 and now he's up in the 4th, which is a pretty good position to be in. I mean, especially early stages of the race. That car is pretty fast. It looks like he might have had a bit of a snap there coming through turn number 2. Looks like he is going to keep going, but he definitely lost some time there to Travis Suckup there.
Yeah, Suckup in our 45, trying to get a little bit closer to Meckes. Meckes, who is trying to make something happen towards Nathan Rhew. Now, a couple races ago, actually, I have to check my stats here because brain just doesn't go back that far, but we had one of our extended races a few weeks ago where they did have the extra set of tires. That was at Langley 2 weeks ago. We had a stage and an extra set of tires last week at Five Flags, was just a straight run to the end of the race. And that's what we have here today, Patrick. 125 laps, which sounds like a lot, but again, we'll pull out the calculators for those who are interested, but 125 laps around a track that's sub 4/10 of a mile. I don't think fuel is of any concern here tonight.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, like you said, it's only going to be about a half an hour race, so I don't really see fuel being an issue here. And once again, because this is not an extended race, they don't have another set of tires to go to, so they're kind of stuck with this set of tires. But I mean, you're going to have some tires that are going to really be hurting towards the end of the race, but I don't think tire preservation is going to be as big of a concern as it would be at maybe some of the other tracks on the circuit or during those more extended races. As the number 6 looks like it's going to go side by side with David Beichner. Steven Rex is going to try to tear his way through, and he gets the move done. A good pass there. He bided his time, and it paid off in the end. That's a very good pass there for the number 6.
Yeah, I'm just going on board here with Beichner or Bichner in the 3. We haven't gotten told either way. Looking a little bit ahead, Colt Huff doing a little bit of a diamond line here, but there is that curve all the way to the inside of the racetrack that kind of creates that pseudo apron. A lot of marbles down there as well. And of course you have the big dirt mounds preserving the light poles here at Oxford Plains, but you don't want to hit that curb, Patrick. That's not one of the round curbs that you can just roll over. That curb will throw the car in the air and throw you up a lane on the track.
And especially with this track not having any walls, it could really just throw you right to the outskirts. It could throw you into what is essentially a ghost town on this track. So you definitely want to stay off of that curb. Sausage curbs in some of the more European circuits are already dangerous enough here, even with walls directly next to them. And on this track, and that curb is going to really just, it can end your day, honestly. You could be having the best race of your season here. Like, you could be Nathan Rhew or Brent Meckies just having a fantastic race, but you touch that curb, and that's pretty much all she wrote for your race.
Yeah, that's all it could be, and again, depends how you have your setup as well. If your setup can help you run that curb, kind of, you know, in the real world for NASCAR, Martinsville, very akin to that same style. You have that curb to the inside. There's a grip if you go down close to it, but that grip goes away if you overstep your boundaries. But closest battles on the track are right here. Well, the first battle up front for the lead, but secondary to that, you have Dylan Winters, of course, our league owner and our newly engaged gentleman here. Again, congrats to him and Cody. But he's trying to get by that 3 car, and that 3 car, we'll check by memory on that here with the graphic, but second down to 7th, and potentially even down further. I know he started to the outside, which was rather disadvantageous, but even still, just not seeming to be comfortable with that car.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about how Colt Huff had a pretty good start here, and David Beichner got the opposite end of that spectrum there. He's had kind of a rough start, but still a good amount of racing left to go. We are barely a 5th into this race, a little over a 5th now, but still a good amount of racing left to go here, and it just takes one caution to kind of bring this field all back into play. But, I mean, he's just really got to bide his time, because that's what Steven Rex did, which even then, Steven Rex has pulled up a pretty considerable gap to Beichner there, about 2 seconds roughly. But now, Colton's really got to keep his eyes just kind of peeled, because he does have Jack McKee just directly behind him. And, I mean, like I said earlier, in the case of, I believe it was actually Beichner, you had to kind of keep your eyes in the back of your head, essentially. Just keep your eyes on your mirrors. But he goes very wide there and loses even more positions. He's down into 9th position from 2nd. So that's 7 positions he's dropped so far in the earlier stages of the race here.
Yeah, but this kind of race that we have, you don't really have a solid opportunity to get a reprieve, because, you know, this race with this car count, we're not seeing a lot of side-by-side racing. Everyone's kind of in their own little bubble spread out. I'm not going to say that there's a guaranteed we're going to go caution-free, but there's a good plausibility of it here. So Bison, or if he maybe he missed the set. Actually, by that logic, you can't really change tires either, because you can't change tire pressures if you can't change tires. So really, all he could do is probably make a wedge adjustment in the pits if it does anything.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing too, is that if you have a big slide or any of that, you're kind of in a rough spot because you don't have the extra set of tires. And here we go, Jack Mickey making the move up into 4th place, doing a very good job getting that inside line and getting the pass done and dusted. And now Steven Rex is going to go and try to get a move done onto Cole Tuff as well. So Cole Tuff having a bit of a rough stretch here in the race. And like you said earlier, Corey, at some of these tracks, the highline has been pretty advantageous, but here in Oxford, not so much. It's like if you get stuck on the outside line, you're pretty much opening yourself up to get overtaken. As we start to see the first taste of traffic here for these drivers, as Nathan Rhew comes up to the back of Jacob Witt.
Yeah, Jacob Witt in the number 54. With precision spotting there, getting the details for them will flash on the outside of your screen. You can take a look at them, and thanks for what they do for the league. But obviously he's not having the run he'd like to have, but this could be the opportunity Brent Mekas is looking for, where you know, maybe that little bit of traffic, a little bit of dirty air on the nose, sad to say, but maybe it gets Rhew caught up, loses some momentum, and that could open a door for him. We'll take advantage of it here. We'll take a look here as they close up to Witt. Witt looks down to the inside on the pseudo straightaway, but holding him off for now. Oh, now he goes high and out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be a massive sigh of relief to our top two, because like we say in the Elbows Out broadcast on Wednesday nights, traffic giveth and traffic taketh away, as Steven Rex might have had some kind of issue. He is now in the pits, and he actually might be done with the race here. Because I know you can't change tires, and fuel is definitely not a concern. If you've burned out fuel in the first 40 laps of the race, I'd be a bit concerned. But we're going to bring up the instant replay and just kind of see what happened here today, 86.
Well, actually, Rex. Let's see. He just... Now, there's two ways to look at this there, Patrick. There's the optimistic, we find a reason that may be wrong. But there's also the another situation where sometimes you just get bored and you just don't want to do it anymore. Didn't seem like there was anything wrong with his car there. I think he might have just said, I'm done.
Yeah, it's always unfortunate when that happens. I've had some races like that, but it is unfortunate to see, because he had some pretty good pace in that car tonight. That number 6 was doing pretty good here. He was making some pretty good moves. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but he is pretty much done and dusted with this race here. So hopefully we'll see him back next week. But until then, we have 12 drivers going ahead, or actually 10 drivers going ahead and giving it a go here still.
Yeah, we do indeed, and they have spread out pretty significantly, as a matter of fact, as you do have a good 0.6 of a second buffer between first and second. Mekas has fallen back, and you know, a track like this there, Patrick, just the nature of a circle, this track is potentially gonna mutilate that right front tire. So you don't really, it doesn't really ever get a break. It doesn't get a straightaway, and you can kind of see the camber here at certain angles. They really have those right front tires really cambered out, trying to get whatever grip they can. And you have to wonder, some drivers are going to get affected by some tire wear more than others late run.
Indeed, and like we talked about earlier, with there only being like one set of tires for each car, I mean, preservation is actually going to play a really key factor in this race. I know I said the opposite earlier, but bringing it into perspective, I mean, you got to really try to keep your tires in a good operating window. You don't want to touch the marbles, although considering how far out you have to get on this track to get those marbles here tonight, I don't think that'll be much of an issue for anybody here tonight. But we are just about 2/5 of the way done with this race here. We're on lap 51 out of 125. And I think we did just see a position switch here between the number 45 of Travis Suckup and Jack McKee, but we have a replay, so we'll go ahead and get another perspective.
Now let's see that 28 of McKee. Yeah, the 45 just got high. But again, this is not a lighting issue or any graphical setting issue. There is a little bit of fog here at Oxford Plains, so the blimp is not as nice as it would like to be, but yeah, up the track was the 45, lost a spot here. We do have a massive bit of action going on, and Travis Suckup, oh, please don't tell me he's gonna bail. We'll see what happens to him. I don't want them to drop off here. We already are kind of getting thinned out here as it is, but Dylan Winters closing in, Jack Fred in the 10 car, and all 8 of Huff. This is a good battle for the 4th spot.
Indeed, yeah. You love to see these good battles here on track. We have Dylan Winters now trying to go around the outside of Jack Fred. Now we know Jack Fred is very fast, but so far Dylan Winters seems to be having a good run here in that Honda just behind. He's putting in some pretty good work here as Jack Fred's putting on some pretty intense pressure onto the number 8 of Cole Tuff, trying to go ahead and break into that top 4. On the night, he's going to go ahead and try to push with that Camaro, with the Honda Accord just behind. He's going to get really close here, so we might see a move here, a little bit up the inside. They're about to start trading paint here soon, as the number 10 is going to go ahead and get that inside line. And it looks like he's going to try, but Cole Tuff is holding on with every fiber of his being, but ultimately, Jack Fred is going to get ahead, but I mean, it looks like he's about to lose even another position to the Honda of Dylan Winters, and he does.
Big wiggle there up to the outside for Huff. That allows Winters to get into the top 5, and now the 4th place driver, 5th place driver, they're 6.5 seconds back. They have, as we go on board, with all the corners here, you really can't see that far ahead of you. There you go. 28 of McKee, about a quarter of a lap up. You can really see that darkened groove kicking in with the right sides. They're putting all that load into the racetrack, but Brent Mekas started to fall off. Now it's upwards of 1.2 seconds. Let's pull up the lap times on our ticker. Ignore Travis Suckup. He did take it behind the wall, but a 15.2 to a 15.3. Now let's see what it is this time round as they cross the stripe. A 15.25, and then second and third all in the 2s, so tight times, but still every lap that goes by is still the slight advantage to that 88.
Indeed, yeah. So once again, it's going to be a bit of a race of attrition here. Just try to keep your line consistent, keep those tires in the good operating window, as Nathan Rhew does have an over 1 second gap. But now Brent Mekies is going to have to kind of start looking in his mirrors, because he does have some pretty quick competition behind here as they go through. He does have the number 86. Actually, I think that's actually a lapped car. That is Jonathan D. Golden. That is there kind of in the middle there. Traffic was always going to be a factor in this race, considering it is only 3/8 of a mile. So we'll see who can hold on, but we do know here, Corey, that it just takes one slight thing to kind of really upend this entire race.
Yeah, it just takes one caution. Now this track, and again, just kind of to the points we've already talked about, this track there, Patrick, actually makes it harder for a caution, because we know here on the iRacing service, and of course in reality, when you hit the wall, usually you bounce back into traffic. It makes tight, unsafe situations. But if you think about from our sim perspective, if you get loose and you go wide, you're going to spin off into the grass, and 99% of the time, Barney's going to let him play. He's not going to put that caution flag out. So outside of literal contact and a wreck, we are more than on our way to finish this thing out green. So hopefully you have some tires left. Hopefully you have a goal in mind of being able to get a couple more spots, because this race is just chugging along. Only about 14 minutes left approximately. Oh, and speaking of the devil.
Well, there we go. That is Cole Tuff getting turned around there.
He just got loose.
Yep. And yep, that's pretty much how that happened. And he's gonna
barely
Try
evade
to
the
kind
pits.
of.
So if he spun through the pits, he would have got himself a pretty significant penalty, so he did miss that. So, but that'll be our first caution of the race. Get ourselves situated. He did go a lap down, so that may put Jonathan Golden in the free pass position to get a lap back. Beischener coming into the pits in the 3 car. No tires can be changed, but you may be able, if there's any damage, again, you could change some wedge. But that's really the extent of it. Fuel and a wedge adjustment. That's really all you got the pits for here today.
I don't think he would be, unless he really just wants a ton of freedom to push, I don't think he would be getting that fuel, but that wedge adjustment might actually help him out here. He might be able to kind of jump back into this race and start putting in some really competitive laps here. And I mean, the field is going to be pretty bunched up here, so he would have a pretty good opportunity.
Well, if you think of it too, the wedge, rather the fuel, it puts the back end of the car in the track more, so a lot of times that will give better handling. If the car went tight, putting more fuel into it will naturally loosen it up, put more weight into it. So it could be a very simplistic handling adjustment here, since there's not many on offer, but we'll get doubled up, stacked up, ready to go back green flag racing with 50 laps to go. And for the first time since the opening stint, Brett Meckes is going to be door-to-door with Nathan Rhew, and let's see what he can do.
Indeed, we'll see what he can do here on the restart, as we are going to go green here in Oxford on lap number 75 out of 125. And Nathan Rhew does get a pretty good start. Jack McKee also getting a pretty good start. Dylan Winters trying to get a move done onto Brent Meckes early on in the restart. And it looks like he is going to go ahead and jump up into those podium positions there in that number 14 Honda. And now look at this, the number 66 didn't have the greatest of restarts, because now he's back under pressure from Jack Fred and David Beichener, and maybe that wedge adjustment from Beichener or the extra bit of fuel might just help him out here.
Yeah, it is also a heat cycle too on the tires, so for some situations that may actually help the handling out, but we'll see what happens. But Meck has fallen back into 4th. Dylan, remember, he was running in 5th, so he had picked off a couple drivers, so he definitely has some speed in that 14. But we were also, Patrick, watching the lap times not that long ago, and we were showing that the 28 was in the same ballpark as Nathan Rhew. So half a second, it's a decent amount of time, but we have a decent amount of laps, and if he can string together a couple good ones, technically anything could be possible. Your last time by, essentially a tie. Let's see what it is this time.
Indeed, we'll just have to see how this one plays out. There is still a good amount of racing here left to go. We are, I believe we're over halfway through this race now, so not much time left on the board, but still a good amount of laps. And it really only just takes one moment for this race to kind of get upended. So we'll see if Jack McKee can go ahead and fire it up and try to put a lot of pressure onto Nathan Rhew here. But I think he's going to be kind of more looking in his rear view. Actually, this is Brent Meckes who is definitely looking at his rear view mirror, as that Chevrolet Camaro machine of Jack Fred is going to go and try. He's trying for the inside line. It looks like he might have bumped him out of the way there, but he has got the inside line now. He's going to get the pass. It's a bit of a rough and tumble one, but he does get it done. And now Jack Fred is back up into 4th place, and this hasn't really been a good start here for Brent Meckes here. I mean, he was doing good in the race, but as soon as the caution and the restart came out, hasn't really been the same for him.
Yeah, he just fell back from that outside lane. That outside lane has been cursed. A lot of times in the real world, both in NASCAR and a lot of the lower tier short track series, they will be able to use that choose cone rule, where you can choose to be on which lane on the restart you prefer, whether that's lining up to the inside and losing a couple spots, or go into the unpreferred lane and seeing if you can make something happen. But a track like this, you would do anything in your power to evade that outside lane, but unfortunately that's where the rules sit. So does what he can do, but you can see on these camera angles there, Patrick, a lot of marbles. So on top of the fact that this track has such a narrow groove as it is geometrically, those marbles, look at there on corner exit. You really can't go wide at all.
Yeah, if you go wide, it's just going to be like being a cheat on an ice rink here. So if you go wide, it's pretty much over for you. So it really makes an already difficult race even more difficult, because we've seen some drivers try to utilize the high line throughout the season, but like we've said before, especially with the marbles, you just can't really do that here. As Jack Fred is trying to put the Honda under some pressure, and it looks like he is succeeding, but he hasn't succeeded getting the move yet. He's going to try the high line. Doesn't work out for him. He backs out of it and now tries to swing back. He's going to go for it. He's going to try it. He's going to keep his foot in there. He's going to try. His foot is in the door, but can he push it open? He's going to try. And it looks like he might have it.
Now Dylan might be able to cross over here on corner exit and go back to the inside, force the nose here in turn one. Last time we saw Fred, he drove it and he forced the gap open. Dylan not as risky with the maneuver, but now the lane has open, 10 all the way up the track, and they'll go door to door here for that fourth position. Fred in rather third position, excuse me. Now Winters will take it back. And here we go with another crossover. Fred back down to the inside here, going tight quarters racing for the podium spot.
Indeed, I mean, yeah, this is basically no quarter given, just an all-out battle here in Oxford. They are trying their hardest here. The track temperature isn't that hot either, so it's only 75 degrees track temp, which means it's going to be beautiful temperature for battling here. No real wind at all to be any kind of factor here, but we are still seeing some good battles here tonight. Even though, this is the thing that we've said before, even though it is a small field, we can still have some massive battles, as Nathan Rhew is not part of any of those battles. He is partially checked out, 1.2 seconds ahead, and he's led pretty much every single lap of the race here tonight, so a very dominant run from him.
Yeah, we've completed 96, so yeah, we still have, and you know, in motorsports, esports, whatever you want to call, any form of cars going fast in a circle or a circuit, going and leading every single lap is not a easy feat, particularly here on a short track. So that's always something that drivers like to add to their resume. Of course, it hasn't happened in the NASCAR Cup Series since the year 2000. So a difficult thing to do, but we can't count our chickens early, so to speak. But he has pulled away 1.4 seconds. You'll see times where Jack McKee does run a skosh faster, but the thing that Nathan has that everybody else doesn't is consistency. He has that car within about 3-4 100ths of a second every single lap.
Yeah, consistency is not only what wins you races, it can win you championships as well. So it's always good to see drivers who have just that relentless consistency like Nathan Rhew. And look at this, Jack Fred is pretty much relentlessly just knocking on the door saying, hello, anybody home? Don't mind if I do. That is a position gain for the number 10. He has been on a tear since the restart tonight, picking off cars left, right, and center. He's going to try to go after Nathan Rhew, but that 2-second gap is going to be a tricky one to pass with less than 25 to go.
Yeah, if there was one guy in this field who wants another caution, I think it's that number 10. He'd probably be the only one with any snowball's chance to be able to make something happen. Dylan really getting creative with the lines. You can see he's doing a much wider exit of turn 4 and trying to get a wider entry, and overall kind of just lengthening this Oxford Plains Speedway. Which most of the drivers running very tight, and maybe he's getting a little extra speed out of it here. If he can cut down low, maybe he can make something happen, but it actually looks like he's trying to use the outside intentionally.
I mean, there's a bit of a line, you can see it here from this view in particular, where there is a little bit of line where you can go wide here and try to get something done. I mean, he's not quite in the marbles, but he's pretty close as Jack McKee and Dylan Winters. Winters trying to go around the outside. trying to go ahead and get something done here. I mean, I don't think we've really seen many outtakes from around the outside here tonight. He's going to give it a try, but I think the inside line is just going to be a bit too strong here, Corey.
I mean, yeah, it's impressive what he's trying to do. Again, the iRacing service does do the emulations of the real world where you have that dynamic track where the heat builds up in the rubber lane. It gets a little bit slicker. Getting that cooler, unused pavement can be beneficial. And look at him. He's gotten the full track position, the full car length to the outside. Yeah, but he's just balancing that very, very tight window of can't go too wide. The outside of the track does get wide. 28 getting super, super loose. Keeps it off of Winters, actually. Dylan was on the worst end of that. He backed off and cost himself all the spots and position that he had gained.
Yeah, so we'll just go ahead and get another view of that. We were saying earlier that super wide line is not exactly the line you want. Oh, it's contact.
Yeah, 28 missed the entry to turn 3. Got sideways on the corner entry there, but Dylan, back to live pictures. He's already there to the outside lane, and again, he is straddling right on that teetering lane of marbles. Now he's in them. And this track does kind of go off camber when you get super high up there, super wide, so there really is a finite line before you quite literally drive off the hill.
Yeah, and I mean, like we said earlier, there's no walls to kind of catch you here at this track, so if you get caught out, you are, there we go, we were just about to mention it, you're off into the rally stage, as that is Jonathan D. Golden going in and having a bit of a detour there into the grass, or into the dirt. He is going to go ahead and drop down pretty much to the back of the field. That's not out of the race at the moment, as we once again see a very good battle here. Once again, it is going to be Dylan Winters actually trying to make a move around the outside, and he does actually get it for the time being. Can he keep it, though? It's going to be Mustang versus Honda. We'll see if he can make it stick. It doesn't look like it, but he's certainly closer than he was now. And actually, he will get it, but getting the move done and making it stick are two separate things here.
He's too high. That's where he's off camber there, all the way out, especially on the start-finish. He's really off camber. You don't want to get that high, so it's just such a finite line. But, you know, we were talking about if a caution comes out, it's going to benefit one person in this race, and it's going to be the 10. I mean, 8 laps to go. That's just not enough time to make it happen, but he has taken that lead down from about 2 seconds to about 1.4 last time by, about 0.2 of a second faster. So the 10 car certainly is the man on the mission now, and he's just probably kicking himself on that poor qualifying run, because that may have been what cost him the race here, as they're still going at it.
Yeah, they're still fighting tooth and nail here. And the final closing laps here with 7 to go here. And they're going to be side by side. I mean, these two are essentially as close as peanut butter and jelly at this stage of the race. I mean, they are going at it with everything they got. But yeah, like you said, I just think that Dylan Winters is just getting a bit too high there. He'll get the move done in some cases, but as soon as the next corner comes around, he just hasn't been able to kind of close that door. The door is still slightly cracked open here, but it looks like with each corner, Dylan Winters gets closer and closer to officially completing that pass, and he's going to get it. Check McKee has a spin there. That's caution.
Well, that normally I was going to say that would put us into overtime, but remember, we don't have overtimes here in this series, so that means that race, unless we can get ourselves a one-lap shootout, that will be the race here. So quickly try to get a replay of this. Oh, that's not it. Wait, where was this? For some reason I can't. Well, we saw it live, so that's what's mainly important here. But driver got loose and T-boned at massive rate of speed. But again, Nathan Rhew will get it because again, no green-white checkers here, no overtime in the series, and we are coming to 1 lap to go this time by.
Indeed, yeah. So, I mean, it was a really good effort there. I mean, it was a really fun bout to watch between Jack Fred and Dylan Winters, but Nathan Rhew has just been so dominant here tonight that it is just, I mean, you can't really say anything bad about Nathan Rhew at this stage. He has pretty much not put a foot wrong this entire night in that number 88. And honestly, he has earned this. He has led 124 out of 125. That's soon going to be 125 out of 125 as Barney has the checkered flag. And this race will finish on a caution. Nathan Rhew wins here in Oxford, taking 125 laps in the lead. He is led from green flag to the checkered. And honestly, flawless race here from Nathan.
Absolutely. Would have been interesting to see if maybe we had about 10 more laps to see if Fred could have made something happen, but we will have to ask ourselves in the past tense because we will never have that answer. But we'll see if Nathan does anything to burn it on down, and yes, he will. His first win of the season in that number 88 here, enjoying it from Victory Circle here in eCAR. But while he burns it down, let's go over our final rundown of results here today from Maine. We got Nathan Rhew, and again, the gaps mean nothing because it was all under caution, but Nathan Rhew, Jack Fred, Dylan Winters did a fabulous job. We got Dave Bishiner in 4th, Jacob Witt in 5th, Jack McKee, Brent Meckes, Jonathan Golden in 8th, and then Colt Huff, Travis Suckup, and then Steven Rex. The last two did not actually take to the grid here today, so let's see if these drivers are already availed for us. I know sometimes they're in a different server, sometimes they're not. And so we don't have the winner yet. Oh, yes, we do. He's just up in the other room. So we'll go grab the winner. All right, Nathan, get yourself your first win of the season, and something that a lot of drivers strive for. You got yourself the perfect race, led flag to flag. Looks like the 10 was coming, but you had enough of a gap and really didn't put a wheel off here tonight.
Yeah, we was watching the gap there, and he was definitely coming. He was making us pick it up, and I was like, man, I don't know how much more right rear I'm gonna have left, but we tried to keep it on it tonight. The car drove great. We needed that after last week. We really missed last week. We tried some stuff last week that just we know that ain't the direction to go now. So we went back to what we know, and the car just really performed tremendously. So did everything we asked, and man, can't be happier to get the win tonight.
Yeah, all these tracks, these races, I know a couple of races you do have the extra set of tires, but majority of the schedule you have to just maintain what you brung. So how much of that is, how much of your mindset has to start on lap 1 with, saving that right rear, saving that right front, or are you just kind of just hoping that you have it left at the end and driving all out?
Well, I mean, everybody's getting so fast now. I mean, these cars have been the same for a while now, and the speed is there, and a lot of people have found it, and you really have to push and at the same time know how to go fast, keep track position, and still save your tires. And it becomes harder and harder every week with everybody getting faster, but you got to manage it. You got to keep the right rear on it, and but somehow keep your track position, because if you get marred back in that dirty air, I feel like it's a little more than it should be on here, but it is what it is, and that's what we race with. But yeah, you just need to save it all you can, but keep your track position, and that can be a fine edge sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about dirty air, maybe a thing next week. We had to, what is essentially a super speedway for these cars, heading to North Wilkesboro, relatively-ish new, as it's only about a build or so onto the service. So what's your confidence level heading there?
I haven't run there much since the new repave, so we're going to go there and see what we can figure out. And I always liked the old surface. It had a lot of character, but this is what we got, and we're just going to go there. I feel like it'll be a faster race, and you're probably right, because of the speeds. We'll probably see a little more some aero stuff out there and fill in the car, so track position is probably going to be really important there too. So
all right, man, any final words before we let you go?
Thank you guys for putting this race on. Thank eWraps, thank eCAR, everybody that puts this on. It's such a fun series, and I know they had some big races going around tonight, so we lost a few drivers, but I'm sure they'll be back next week, and just look forward to being here next week.
Absolutely, man. Go celebrate. Congrats.
Thanks.
And now second place with Patrick is Mr. Jack Fred.
It was going to be my best shot.
Hey Jack, welcome to the booth here. I mean, it was a hard-fought battle for P2 there, especially in the closing laps of the race. Ultimately, how was the race from your perspective here tonight?
Well, I wish I could have started a little closer to the front. I really messed up my qualifying, but I felt like I had decent speed, just taking it easy the first half of the race and then started picking them off.
Indeed, yeah, this is such a unique track as well, because unlike pretty much every other track we've been to here this season at eCAR, there's no walls here right on the edge of the circuit, so you go off and it's just dirt. So did that factor into your mind at all at any point during the race?
I mean, not really. I never really got close, but if you go off, man, you just off into oblivion.
Yeah, and I mean, that was a kind of a talking point for us here too tonight. But taking a look at next week, we go 100 laps at North Wilkesboro. What is your confidence level going into that track?
To be honest, I'm not really too sure. They redid North Wilkesboro a little while ago, and I haven't ran at all on it since, so we'll see.
Yeah, earlier Nathan said that the old pavement had some character, and he hasn't really driven any laps on it since the repave, but it should be an interesting race to watch, and I'm sure for you guys it'll be an interesting track to kind of learn since the repave. But before we let you go here, Jack, is there anyone you'd like to thank or give a shout out to?
Yeah, just everyone watching. I know my friends Austin and Gillen are watching, and then my mom and dad, and Gabby is watching too, so just want to thank all of them for watching.
All right, well, once again, congratulations on the podium, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, then to wrap things up here with our post-race show, our league admin who put out a good show, Dylan Winters here, talking to you for a good reason because you got yourself on the podium, and I'll tell you that battle that you were having was absolutely fantastic, making that outside lane work. Just talk about how that was, because it seemed like it was so difficult, but you finally made it happen.
Well, I was trying to get a switchback set up on him, but he was just rolling the bottom and defending exit so good. Like, I had to go where he wasn't. The only place to go was the outside, and I hoped that it rolled. And once I saw that I had a little bit of momentum, I just kept working at it because I knew I would get by. I had to be smooth.
Yeah, and just, obviously we saw only one restart, one or two, not too many, but we saw that outside lane be an absolute death sentence for those drivers on the restart, and you were able to take advantage of it. How really detrimental was it starting to the inside, or starting on that outside lane there?
Starting on the outside is terrible on a restart. The inside fires so fast, you can carry so much more speed on the restart in the bottom. Like, you have nowhere to go. You can't get off the corner. It seems like once tire temp comes up, though, the outside definitely seems to start rolling.
Yeah, definitely seemed a little bit better. We'll head next week. Your top two have essentially 0 lap, 0 confidence heading to the updated version of North Wilkesboro. Where do you stand in that regard?
I feel pretty comfortable there. I ran Sara there a couple weeks ago, and I just ran the official, and I feel pretty fast at North Wilkesboro, so I'm hoping I can bring my fancy Halloween scheme out and get a dub.
All right, man, we'll see what you can do here. Any final words before I let you go?
Oh, I'd just like to give you a thanks for broadcasting us. I want to give a shout out to Chris and Nathan. They're a big help with getting everything run, and I want to give a thanks to Andre for being race control for us. He does a fantastic job watching over and keeping everybody clean. And I want to give a thanks to my wife for, letting me put this on. I can't really do much without her good graces, so I really appreciate it.
Well, Amy, I know how that cookie crumbles, man. So, but we'll congrats on a solid podium run, and we'll see you at Wilkesboro next week.
Thank you. See you next week, guys.
All right, so that'll wrap things up here from the Oxford Plains Speedway. A relatively quick race here, and fast flowing. We saw some good racing, a couple wrecks, and we saw a driver lead every single lap. The perfect race, Patrick. That's a rarity.
Indeed, and that's something I don't think we'll see again for the rest of the season here. And it, like you said, it's so, I mean, it doesn't matter what form of racing it is, whether it's ovals, whether it's endurance, whether it's open wheel, you never really see anyone lead every single lap of a race. And just to see that level of dominance is super rare, and I don't think we'll see it again for the rest of the season. But, I mean, like we also said earlier, Nathan Rhew did not put a foot wrong here in this race. So, I mean, hey, kudos to him and everybody else who finished on the podium.
Yeah, exactly that here. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe here to PTR TV. Looking to get 1,900 subscribers. Stay tuned for our next broadcast. We will be live on Sunday with the Triple Bypass Cup Series and restart in another week. I think we got 4 more broadcasts next week, so don't miss any of them. But that's going to be Corey and Patrick signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.